Welcome, everybody, to episode 10 of the Turnbuckle Talk podcast. And in today's podcast, like always, we go through the latest talking points of pro wrestling and we explain them, give our thoughts, and ultimately try to figure out and get to the bottom of some of the stuff that happens. And this week has been a roller coaster of emotions because almost like everybody involved and everybody on the WWE ID program has been released. Everybody's getting released. So today we have everybody who has been released that is known names, of course, and that are on TV currently, and also some other news, which is pretty big news. So you're going to want to stick around for this. So let's get right into it. Starting off, earlier in the week, we heard that Santos Escobar was no longer a part of WWE and that his contract will be expiring and not be renewed at midnight. Turned out he re-signed the next day. So now we have Santos Escobar back in the WWE. This makes you wonder what we're doing here. Obviously, Santos, him being with Los Garza, and I will say that was heating up for about a month, and then they completely gave up on it, it felt like. I thought that the feud was good. I loved how Humberto was going off on his own and trying to get away from the faction, but then they just gave up on it, and I think that's not what they should have done. They had some heat going, and Humberto having his presence online definitely helped. So I think they could have done a bit better trying to do some better stuff with Los Garza and Santos. But now Santos is back, so I'm hoping he'll go after a mid-card title, but I just don't see him beating Sammy. I don't see him beating anybody important to win a title or to move up in any sort of rankings. He's just not the type of guy that I would expect to win a title. So I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out what's next for Santos. I don't really have an idea what's good for him right now. We would see Zeta still. Obviously, she competed in the match to see who will be the first WWE Women's ID champion. That would turn out to be Kylie Ray. And Kylie Ray was the current WWE ID champion. But Zeta still chooses to not re-sign her contract or to not renew her contract. She says, I've decided to not renew my WWE ID contract. I'm incredibly grateful for all the knowledge, experience, and opportunities I've gained along the way. But at this end of the day, I have to do what's best for me. I'm only 21 and have done so much, but I'm just getting started. Thank you. So that's interesting. That's been a lot of what's going on. People either not getting renewed or people not renewing. So I'm kind of curious now. What's going on in the locker room? What's going on backstage that'll make these high-profile superstars and arguably the most high-profile women's WWE ID and Evolve person in Evolve on the WWE ID program, and she's choosing not to re-sign? She was the hottest free agent and then got picked up by the WWE ID program, and now she's gone. Just like that. And I feel like she would have played such a huge role on Evolve. I don't want to speak too much on that because I know some of you guys do not watch that, but pretty much I'm going to explain it real quick. She's in this group called the Vanity Project where she was just about to get in a good rivalry and a good feud where she was trying to get out of the faction, but now she chooses not to renew. So obviously she did not like what was going on, or she just thinks there's other plans for herself. I don't know. And then things didn't get any better from there because Kylie Ray, the women's WWE ID champion, didn't get renewed, which makes me really wonder because she was, in my opinion, one of the best in-ring workers. I wouldn't say in WWE, but from NXT and lower, she was top, to be honest. Her and Sol Ruka. And I shouldn't even have said Sol Ruka. Y'all know how I feel about that. She's the best women's wrestler of all time. All right, whatever. But Kylie says that she did not get renewed. So she says, today I share that my time with WWE ID is coming to an end as I was informed my contract will not be renewed. Obviously, her announcing her pregnancy, I believe, I'd say a week ago. So her not going to be active. She's not going to be active on TV, and she is the WWE ID champ. And I thought that the simple answer would be to just let her relinquish the title, but I guess WWE is going for more of a serious approach and completely letting her go. She said, I'm grateful for the opportunities, memories, and people I met along the way. Thank you to everyone who supported me during this chapter. It truly means the world. I don't know what it seems to y'all, but Zeta and Kylie's messages both look like they just completely made it up in ChatGPT. Hey, I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game, but I mean, Honestly, I could write down that script right now and give me a script for me getting released by WWE, and this would be exactly what ChatGPT would write up. Just saying, but interesting for sure. But obviously no shade to any of them; they're super good. And then we had more releases. Wesley, the biggest shocker. Obviously, I think that he's been okay. I'm gonna lay down a little hot take because I know people won't agree with this at all, but I'm gonna lay it down anyway. I think that Wesley is the most unused talent in WWE history. He is so good in ring, and it might just because he cut off his dreads. To be honest, I think that's what it was. He cut off his hair and then he just went to the bottom of the charts. But dude, I remember like 2020 on Wednesdays you'd open up the bump whenever that. Okay, I'm getting crazy memories right now. You open up YouTube, you go on the bump at 12 o'clock. Then you would see like Wesley and Zachary Wentz being there getting interviewed and everything. I miss those times, but when MSK was literally thriving, winning the Dusty Rhodes Cup. So I just wish things would go back to how they used to be, but I hope he'll go to TNA and we'll get to relive that. And I hope he regrows his dreads, bro. Holy. I swear he had a different type of aura being the North American champion and all that. He was so much better. But I don't know what happened. He cut him off and then he just went off the deep end. But then we also get Stevie Turner, the general manager of Evolve, has been shown on NXT over these past couple of weeks. So that definitely interesting. Last week she was actually the general manager for NXT as well as Robert Stone. So that's been something that y'all have obviously seen if y'all watch NXT. Jamar Hampton, another Evolve superstar, as well as BJ Ray, but he's in LFG. Jen Tala, she was in LFG for season 1, but then she lost and then she came to Evolve, so they didn't want to let her go. And then Roman Reigns' cousin Lance Anoa'i has been released as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names that are the most known has been released, and there's obviously a lot more that we've not released and a lot of that are in LFG that have been released as well. So sad to see, but I think that half of these names will make them their way back into the WWE or to AEW, TNA, same thing. But yeah, I think they'll make it into big promotions, especially Lance Anoa'i, Jamar Hampton. I was really impressed with Jamar. Obviously, BJ Ray, him being like a confident character, I think he'll make it far as well. Stevie Turner, I think that's the end of the road for her. I hate to say that, but I don't think she plays a big part. Wesley, he's going to find this place easy. We would find out that Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston would re-sign with WWE. Obviously, we found out that their contracts were expiring about a week ago, and then we figured out that they have re-signed. So that's great news. Meaning that the OGs, you got to keep them there. Not really much to keep an eye out on, but cool to mention. The Inspirations TNA contract is coming to an end, but they are expected to re-sign. I think they 100% will. Bound for Glory, they got a match against the Elegance brand for those Knockouts tag titles. We know that they just recently won them on the TNA Impact after Victory Road. So them being fresh TNA tag champs, I think they will retain a Bound for Glory tomorrow. So that's going to be really interesting to see. I hope they do resign though. I love the Inspiration. They showed out at the NXT versus TNA showdown. So I was excited to see what they can keep doing on TNA, because they are relatively new faces on TNA. We would see, speaking of NXT and TNA, NXT versus TNA Showdown drew 625,000 viewers, while AEW's Dynamite Title Tuesday only drew 321,000 viewers. Obviously, not any shade to AEW. Y'all know I did stop doing AEW reviews just because I'm trying to... Every time I watch AEW and do reviews on it, it gets my mind mixed up with WWE, and ultimately, my main focus is on WWE, so I want to keep that the main focus on this page. But, yeah, I was not smiling and happy to see that they overshadowed AEW, but I've always thought it would be super bad to see NXT's ratings go lower than Dynamite, and I'm glad that we're fully upholding by pretty much twice of AEW's Title Tuesday, so that's good. We would see John Cena post The Miz on his Instagram just a couple of days before Crown Jewel. We know Crown Jewel was at 8 a.m. this morning, where we would see Cena defeat AJ Styles in an absolute classic. But we know why he posted this now, because he hit the Skull Crushing finale during that match, which was really cool. I loved how they showed homage to all of their past opponents. AJ using the sleeper for Samoa Joe. There were so many crazy things. And I was honestly surprised to see Cole say that it was the walls of Jericho. I didn't think he would say that, but it was pretty cool. I love the match. Classic. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. I know that's going to get me a lot of hate probably. I would say a 9 out of 10, a 9.5 out of 10, or a 9 out of 10, somewhere in there. But yeah, I love the match. We would then see Rikishi say on the Off the Top Rope podcast that WWE has not booked Jacob Fatu the right way since he returned, saying they haven't put him around the right people to have success. So that's shade to his whole family, to be honest. We know the MFTs, JC Mateo, Talatonga, Tongaloa, and Tamatonga now. Jacob Fatu was obviously in a group with them and Solo. So it's interesting to see how Rikishi thinks that they didn't put him around the right people in the first place. So I'm going to have to address that with somebody eventually. You can't just say that about your own family, but interesting to see. But I don't watch the podcast anymore. I really used to a lot. It used to be one of my favorite podcasts. He used to be really entertaining to watch, but then every day you look on Instagram, you look anywhere, and you'll instantly see more news about Rikishi saying some horrible stuff that just doesn't even make any sense. And I think this is the definition of it right here. WWE has made Jacob Fatu a name that will be remembered forever already, and he's just getting started. So just imagine whenever he main events WrestleManias. I think that Rikishi's just overlooking it. He sees everybody in his family doing pretty decently well, and then Jacob gets left off the TV for about a month, and then he goes berserk. It's just, don't pay attention to Rikishi if you're new to wrestling, for sure. We would see JC Jane get injured at last night's NXT live event. Night before last, we had a live event, and people were saying, and there was a video that JC Jane injured her hamstring. So obviously this is not good. Her being the women's NXT champion, defending against Lola Vice at No Mercy, and now pretty much introducing Laney Reed into the Fatal Influence. There's a lot of future for JC Jane, especially right now. There was news and there was rumors that she was helped out of the live event mid-match. So that's not good to see. But also during that live event was something I thought was really cool in a match that I would love to see in the future. We would see Omos show up at that live event, and during that live event, Oba Femi was also out there, and we would see the stare down of a lifetime between Oba Femi and Omos. It was insane. If y'all have not seen the video, go watch that. WWE just recently posted it to their Instagram. You got to go watch that. They are the Battle of the Giants for sure. I think Obas easily got the gap on Omos, but it was still super cool to see. I'm so happy that we got Omos in WWE, but I think they're still trying to find out a way to introduce him fully. I just hope that we can get him into WWE booking sooner than later, but I'm glad they're taking their time because that means that we're not rushing into storylines where we're going to mess him up again. But last storyline we did see him in was against Brock Lesnar, where that didn't go too well. So I'm glad to see them taking their time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's Turnbuckle Talk, episode 10. Y'all see, I believe right here. It keeps switching sides. On my screen, it's right here. But on y'all's screen, it's probably right here. So it says like and subscribe. You know what to do. If y'all enjoyed today's podcast and y'all enjoyed today's show, make sure to hit like and subscribe because it really helps out the page, really helps me out, and I would be so very happy if y'all would hit that subscribe button because it helps out the channel more than you'll ever know. But hope y'all enjoyed today, and I hope y'all enjoyed all this news that I've shared. We'll be back in probably 2 days with a lot more news, so stay in tune, and I'll see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces.